Hi, this is Ainu. Thank you for visiting my channel. I wanted to give you a very special thank you for everybody who visited my last video and left comments and questions and ideas for videos. I have written all of those ideas and questions down and hope to turn them into videos soon. For the past couple of weeks I have been able to upload 2 videos per week. And I hope I manage to continue doing that. So I'm thinking I'm going to upload on Mondays and Thursdays, the same as last week. However, don't ask me specific time yet. It could be on morning or evening or any time during those days. And I hope that once uploading 2 videos a week becomes manageable and kind of easy, then I might start thinking about uploading like 3 videos a week. Today I'm going to show you how to do a smoky eye. While I do my makeup, I'm going to tell you a story while I was still in university. So this story is specifically about my so-called roommate and what he did. It's a little bit yucky and disgusting, but I hope you don't find it boring. Okay, let's get going. Hi. I noticed something different. Yes, I'm wearing a wig. I got this wig yesterday and now I have 5 days to decide whether I send it back or not. I kind of like this wig. I'm not sure if blonde is my color though. My blue eyes don't seem to go with the blonde hair, unfortunately. It's possible to customize the wig even more if I would take it to the hairdresser. So maybe it's kind of like very thick, which looks unnatural. Maybe so make it thinner, maybe do a haircut. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I just felt that I want to order a wig and be prepared at least when I completely lose my hair. Like recently my hair started kind of coming loose, like when I would just pull a huge amount of hair out. But more recently my hair loss has stabilized. It's more stable. Like huge chunks of hair don't come out anymore. I do maybe lose more hair than would be normal, but overall, yeah, I don't think I'm losing all of my hair. Doesn't look like this at the moment. So I wouldn't necessarily need a wig right now. But yeah, I don't know if I should send the wig back or what. We'll see. I have a few days to decide. So before we get to the story, I wanna cover the makeup part a little bit. The eye makeup for the smoky eyes, I would divide it into 3 categories. Like first, just the basic eye makeup, basically eye palette. Right, so today I'm going to use Naked Urban Decay, one of the classics. And then going to use different types of brushes. The flat brush is for backing. Then brush that is shaped like that would be for blending out the eyeshadow. I might use also this brush that is very small, like maybe to the inner eye corners I might want to add a little bit of color. Spoolie for just in case if I want to brush out the excess mascara. Of course we would have then mascara, and I suggest always using a primer under eyeshadows, because otherwise your eyeshadow is just going to fly off. like I'm serious, like if you don't use a primer under the eyeshadows, then usually like after an hour or two, even if the eyeshadow is really expensive, very high quality, it just disappears somewhere. Right, and then these three items are necessarily only to turn the eye makeup into smoky eyes. Right, so the other stuff that I showed you would be to do just the regular eye makeup, and these three items are to turn it into smoky eye. So this is eyeliner, eye pencil, and special smoky eye brush. It's just a smudging, if you see how it looks. Right, so today I'm going to make the smoky eye look really over the top, so I'm going to want to use lashes. Then special stickers that I'm going to tape under my eyes to catch any fallout from the eyeshadow, and a lash curler. Alright, so while I do my makeup, I'm going to give the story. Well, let me think how much time it was. So how long time ago did I graduate? I think I graduated like high school around 2000. So it's like 90 years ago when I started university. So I went to university in Estonia. Estonia is very, very small country. We have like 1.3 million people, and that's a small population. And I would say that there's like 1 million Estonians, the rest are maybe like Russians that are left there since Soviet Union times, who kind of refused to speak Estonian and take over our traditions. So in a way, I'm 1 in a million. Right. So the size of Estonia, the land part, is about the size of Netherlands. However, because we have so few people, there's a lot of space around, and apparently we have one of the most cleanest air in the world, actually. Thanks to that. So I went to Tallinn Institute of Technology, I think is what it's called in English. So Estonia has two main universities. The capital of Estonia is Tallinn, and Tallinn has one university, the Tallinn Institute of Technology, and Tartu, that's another city in Estonia, has other universities, Tartu University, and I went to the first one. There are smaller universities also, and then there are some private universities, but the way it is in Estonia is that if you're anyway good at all in high school, and your scores, your test scores are anyway kind of okay, then most likely you will get into free spaces in the government university. So if you have to pay for your university education, it means that you were really dumb in high school, is kind of how it is. Right, so basically I got free education. And I studied technical physics. I would say only maybe 4 of us in our class were really smart and had very high scores, and the rest of the students out of 20 who were accepted to technical physics were kind of people who got in because they didn't get into anywhere else, because like physics is very like unpopular. I had very high scores, but I didn't really know what to do with my life, and yeah, So one other thing that is different in Estonia compared to America is a little bit the university system. Like in America, you basically go first to college, like you get a general college education with a kind of a direction towards something, like you do like a pre-med or something, or if you want to study law, you take certain classes so you could go to law school later. In Estonia, it's not like that. If you want to become a doctor, you start becoming a doctor right after high school. Or if you want to become a teacher, then you go become a teacher, like a special university for that. Or if you want to become a lawyer, then you go like that. So, of course, some of the subjects are not like that, so are more like open. Why did I choose technical physics? I don't really know. Technical physics was quite open. I had very high scores, so I could have gotten easily into a doctor school to become a doctor, but I cannot handle blood. One time I tried to donate blood, and then before they actually started taking blood out of me, they tested something, so they took blood only from this one finger, and I saw it and I fainted. So you can imagine how difficult it is for me to give blood all the time from my veins and to get IVs and all this stuff, that I'm so incredibly sensitive to that stuff. But also I knew very, very early on that I'm never going to be able to be a doctor. And that was like when I was maybe already like 6 years old or something. I remember I had my friends, we were running outside playing, and we found a dead rat near some garbage cans. And we took that dead rat, and my friends cut it open, took all this intestines and all this stuff out. And I was not anyway interested seeing what's inside. I thought it's extremely gross, extremely disgusting, and I can't handle that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I felt like after finishing high school that I'm too young, I don't know anything about anything, I don't know what I would like to do with my life. And I knew I liked physics, so I guess I ended up going to the physics like that. So yeah. So unfortunately, I feel that in a way I made a sad decision, because once I actually got accepted and everything, the school, university started, I realized that all my friends, all my classmates had gone to the other university that's in the other city, right? So I said there's like 2 universities, one in Tartu University, and one in Tallinn, Tallinn Institute of Technology, and everybody basically went to Tartu University because it's bigger. It has like all the subjects, while the university I went was more like STEM fields. And so that meant that I didn't have my friends with whom I could rent like an apartment and share the rent. And as a result, I ended up having to rent a room from my a great uncle, so my father's mother's brother, or my dad's uncle basically. So he had 3 rooms in his apartment. Now this is another difference. In America, between American apartments and Estonian apartments is that apartments in Estonia are very, very small. And if somebody asks, like in America, how big the apartment is, then they would ask how many bedrooms are in there. And then you would answer 2 or 3 or something like that. But in Estonia, you ask how many rooms are in apartment. Nobody asks how many bedrooms are there, because it's just how it is. Because like apartments that have 3 rooms, that means 2 bedrooms, is a huge apartment. It means there's 2 bedrooms, 1 living room and a kitchen, which actually is relatively small apartment compared to like a small you know, it would be considered like a small apartment in American sense, right? And so he had like a 2-bedroom apartment or 3-room apartment in Estonian sense. So he wasn't really interested in me moving in there. I'm talking about that great uncle. His daughter was interested that I move in, and that was because this uncle was actually very ill. He had had several heart attacks, and he had other health problems. He might have had diabetes. So he was sick, he was depressed, he had lost his wife to cancer. He was completely uninterested in doing anything. So, right, like when I moved in, I paid like rent, but it was quite reasonable. And so this uncle's daughter was expecting that, you know, I also keep an eye on the uncle, that if something happens, then at least I'm there, I will notice, call ambulance. Right. However, the way I lived there was that I didn't communicate with him. We would just say hi, goodbye, something like that. I would use kitchen only when he was away, or basically because I think he didn't, like very early on, he kind of made clear that he doesn't like me using his kitchen, but you know, I had to eat somewhere. And then, right, so I just basically lived in this one room. But I think it was, other than that, that I felt lonely. All my friends had gone to different city and things like that. I feel like it was okay. Like it could have been worse, because at the time, I don't know how it is now, but then they didn't really have like dorm rooms. Like there were very, very few dorm rooms. There was like impossible to get into those, and the ones you could get into were very, very old. Like I actually tried, like the very first week I tried to get a dorm room. It was tiny room, very old, and you had to share it with 2 other girls, and the bathrooms and the showers were like shared by the whole floor. And that actually wouldn't have been bad. The problem really was why I didn't want to live in dorm room was because really the people who were willing to live in there really were not interested in studying. Like the first week they were just drinking and not really doing anything, so and really bothering the heck out of me. So I just I guess I was such a nerd that I absolutely that was completely unacceptable for me. I thought that university is for studying and studying only, and it was extremely important to me, and I did not want to have anything to do with party people. people partying around, screaming, not letting me to be in peace. And that's why I actually preferred to live with this old guy who was just always in living room watching his soap operas and just never bothered me at all. Right. So one thing he did, what he wasn't supposed to do, he drank a lot of beer. Oh, I just realized I'm supposed to actually do Smokey Eye while I'm talking. I just got so into talking. Right, let me start doing that one also. So I'm going to apply the primer on my eyelids, and then I'm going to choose a dark color, eyeshadow color, so like a dark brown, for example, and then I'm going to apply it to the outer corners of my eyelids. And as I said, I'm going to use the packing brush. See, this is a brush that is flat. So this is a brush that you just pack on the eye color. You don't actually use this flat brush to blend. I just pack it on. And then I use the second brush to blend it out. Right, so where was I? Oh yeah, so this guy, what he wasn't supposed to do is drinking. He was drinking like a lot. He was drinking a lot of beer every day, even though all of his medical conditions, he wasn't supposed to drink at all, as far as I understood, as everybody, like the relatives, told me. And the reason I know that he probably drank like every single day is because after he died, which happened on my second year, so the second year I went to the same university, I stayed again with this uncle, and unfortunately the second year, end of the second year, he got very, very sick and ended up in the hospital and died. And then when that happened, I looked around a little bit in his apartment, and I realized that like he had hidden beer bottles like everywhere, like they were like all over the place. And because I was a starving student, I actually took all those bottles and changed them into money. Now I'm going to take a slightly lighter color, right? Before I took this and put it outer corner. Now I'm going to take this light color and just use my index finger and apply to the middle of my eye. Okay, and I'm actually going to use just my finger to blend it in. The heat in my finger helps with the blending. So I think this old guy was actually very well, what I learned observing this old guy was that it really depends a lot on you, if you want to live or if you don't want to live, because he really gave up, and I think he gave up and he just died. So what happened, because he didn't exercise, he didn't really eat well, he would just, drink and drink and drink some more. Even though He wasn't supposed to do that. So I think he had actually diabetes. And the reason I think is because the way he ended up dying was that at the end of my second year, it was already spring, end of my second year of studies, he developed a gangrene in his leg. And it was really gross because it would stink, right? So it's basically what is gangrene is just like part of your body just dies, it turns black and just stinks. And so luckily it didn't, like, I think he added like only like a week or two, and then they took him to the hospital. Then consequently he died. Yeah, those were the days. And so now I'm going to use that small brush, and I'm going to take a light color. I'm going to take like this color here and put to the inner corners of my eyes. If you wouldn't do a smoky eye, you would just apply mascara from this step on, next step on. But now I'm going to do the smoky eye part. I'm going to draw a line on my upper eyelid, as close to eyelashes as I can, and also on my lower eyelid on the waterline. Okay, let's get back to the story. So the reason I mentioned this drinking is actually what I wanted to tell you about, the actual story what happened. And this is really gross, I think. So what happened one time? I came home from school, and it was relatively late already because my labs were relatively late. And then I come home, open the door, and my room was like at the very end of the corridor. Damn it. So my room was at the very end of the corridor. And what I noticed was that there was a line of something going across the corridor floor. And when I looked closer, it was poop, like human feces. There was a lot of poop on the floor. And so I did my best not to step in, and I just went into my room, and I thought that, well, this is crazy. And then I waited there thinking, what on earth I'm going to do, because I'm not going to clean this up. This is crazy. I don't know what has happened. That old uncle, did he have an accident? Like, what on earth? And then I had to go to the bathroom, and I opened the door, and the surface of the bathtub inside was covered with feces. So poop. It's like there was so much poop everywhere. So I don't know what on earth he had been doing all day long, but the the apartment had a lot of poop everywhere. I just realized I forgot to use these guys. That's okay. I think this eyeshadow was so good that there was no real fallout. And just in case if there is something very small, I can just use this thing. So what you want to do now, after you apply this eye pencil, is you want to use this smudging brush, right, and smudge out upper and lower eyelash part where you applied the eye pencil. So, right, so that was just horrible. I was in shock. I went back to my room, closed my room door, and called my parents. And of course, my parents said, yeah, just stay there. We're going to call this guy's daughter, this uncle's daughter, and she will just come and clean it up. And so while I was waiting, like in my room, I heard this guy was moving in the corridor. And so I opened the door to go and, you know, talk to him, like what happened, what's going on. And oh my God. Just wait, let me just put on this, I can't talk, and this is very sensitive. I have to be very careful applying it. Wanted to like talk to him, just ask what happened and what's going on, and why is there like poop all over the house, all over the apartment. And so I opened the door, and you know what he was wearing? He was wearing only a wife beater, like a white wife beater. It was very long, so it covered his private area, but he was not wearing underwear. Like, because when he turned around, I could see his butt. So he was definitely naked underneath. So he was wearing only that shirt of wife beater. And he was drunk as hell. Like, later turned out that instead of drinking his regular just beer that he did every day, he had actually been drinking vodka. So he had drank like a bunch of vodka, and he was like just really drunk, very happy, like some 3-year-old toddler, just toddling around. And then I guess he had like accidents where he pooed everywhere, I don't know. And so I asked him, you know, why is there poop all over? You know, what happened? And he looked down. I had to like show him what I'm even talking about, and it was like this, you know, I showed him some of the poop that was on the floor, and he took his finger, like this index finger, scraped some of that poop with his index finger, so he had it on his index finger, and he didn't sniff it first, he tasted it first. He tasted it and then sniffed it and said, yes, it's poop. Actually, he didn't say it like that. He said, oh, it is poop. Like he was surprised. So yeah, so his daughter came and cleaned everything up. She cleaned like till, I don't know, 3 a.m. or something. She just cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and she was very, very unhappy with her father. She was screaming at him, right? And that's my today's story. Today was a very strange story, right? Okay, so let's finish the eye look. Right, so as I said, today I'm going to wanna use eyelashes, fake eyelashes. So if you don't wanna use fake eyelashes, just go ahead, apply mascara, and you're done. However, because I'm going to apply fake eyelashes, I'm going to first use this guy to curl the eyelashes. Okay, and then to take eyelashes, I'm going to apply glue. together with your own lashes. And so basically you want to apply mascara to your own lashes. And that's my final look. That's the Smokey Eye.